Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and today I'm here with you to tell you about the fastest way to become a pilot and become a first officer. If you wonder about my story, how I became a pilot, you may check this video or you can check in the video description down below the video link to my way of becoming a pilot. Now guys, let's start. I'll explain you the cheapest way and the fastest way possible to become a pilot nowadays. First guys, let's speak about what do you actually need to become a commercial pilot, and you can compare it with a car driving. To drive a car you need to apply for the driving license, and to fly the airplane you need to apply for the airplane pilot license. There are several licenses in aviation. Private pilot license, PPL, commercial pilot license, CPL, and airline transport pilot license, ATP. Sometimes it's called ATP, and my country it's ATPL. You may think it's quite easy. You can apply for the license, pass some exams, and you can fly the commercial airline, but it's not so easy. The main point is you need the flight hours. The flight hours are crucial for every pilot. If you want to obtain the license, you need to have the flying practice, you need to have flight hours. If you want to be upgraded to the captain position, you need to have the flight hours as a first officer. If you want to change the airline for a better one, you need to gain flight hours for it. The problem with those licenses and the flight hours you need to gain is that you need to gain those hours doing the special training programs in a flight school. So the airplane will be flying with you and with instructor, so you need to pay for instructor, for the airplane gasoline or kerosene, wherever, and you need to apply for maintenance of the aircraft, etc. So you need to spend a lot of money to get all those licenses. Well, to be more particular, for ATPL you don't need to spend the money. As soon as you have enough flight hours you can apply for it, just having the CPL, but I'll talk about it later. The main problem nowadays is that the flight hours costs fortune. They cost a lot of money. For PPL you will spend around $10,000. It's as minimum as possible. It would be around $10,000. And for commercial pilot license you may spend up to, let's say, $40,000 or maybe even more. Depends on your country and depends on your local regulations. How many flight hours do you need to have for your CPL practice? Well, the PPL license here, it's very easy one to obtain. You don't need to pay a lot. It has a very short program. You need just to pass a few exams and have not so many flight hours. But you can fly only the private airplanes. In this case, you can fly small Cessnas or your own private airplane. To fly the commercial airplane, to make a commercial airline operations, to carry passengers and cargo, you need to apply for the commercial pilot license. And here with commercial pilot license all the fun starts. Fun, I mean, it's not very easy to get this license. You need to study a lot, you need to pass lots of exams, and you need to fly lots of hours. Well, in my country, for the PPL, for the private pilot license, you need to have, as far as I remember, it's around 45 hours of flight practice. For commercial pilot license, it's 150 flight hours. So totally combined is 195 up to, let's say, 200 hours. It's a lot and you need to pay for it, and it's very expensive, as you can see. I know the guy who paid around $100,000 to get his commercial pilot training done. So it really depends on your country, but as far as I know, it will never get lower than $30,000 United States dollars. So that is why there are not so many pilots. That is why people just don't want to invest their money, because you just have 200 hours, and most of the airlines hire new pilots with at least 500 hours. So sometimes you need to pay even more just to have 500 hours done to apply for some kind of airline, or you just fly for food for some kind of airline just to have these flight hours. In my country regulation, as soon as you have 2,250 flight hours, you can apply for airline transport pilot license. That is what I done before, that is what I have done, and I already have this type of license. So it's kind of usual way, and you cannot do anything. You need to fly these hours. You cannot avoid flying those hours and getting this commercial pilot license. You need to have through all these steps to pass the theoretical knowledge exams and to pass the flight checks, etc., to apply for the license. But it's only one part that you need to pay. Here comes another part. Then you will have your commercial pilot license. You will have it on some kind of aircraft type, and usually it's a kind of small one, twin engine turboprop airplane like Beechcraft, etc. But the main thing you need to do to apply to some kind of airline is to have the type rating. The type rating is a very crucial thing for a pilot, guys, and having a proper type rating may open you a road to have your first job. Type rating means what aircraft you fly. For example, my type rating is a Boeing 737. And it's most popular aircraft of all, the A320 and the Boeing 737. So you need to have Boeing 737 or Airbus 320 type ratings, and you can apply to many airlines. And as usual, guys, to have these type ratings, you need to pass the theoretical exams for particular type. You need to have the simulator hours. You need to pass your license proficiency check. You need to have your skill test to be done. And sometimes you need to have the base training. For the base training, I mean you need to fly the real airplane in a real airport. You need to make takeoffs and landings. And just imagine how much it will cost for you. And as usual, most of the airlines would rather hire the type-rated pilot than non-rated pilot. Because you need to spend up to $20,000 United States dollars for the type rating. So that's a lot of money for you guys to spend, because you already spent a lot of money to become a pilot, to obtain your commercial pilot license, and now you need to pay for the type rating. That's quite a lot of money. And of course, the fastest way for you to become a pilot is just to pay, but it won't be the cheapest way. Now I'm going to tell you about the fast way and the most cheapest way how to become a pilot. Cadet program. As I told you before, to become a commercial pilot, you need to pay a lot of money for your training, for flight hours, etc. And nowadays, not so many people willing to pay such amount of money investing in their pilot career. Rather than would invest the money to become doctors or to have a master degree, to have a college degree, to go to university, because in the future you may have more income from other professions comparable to the pilot profession. So my main suggestion for you guys at the beginning, if you're willing to invest the money in your pilot career, first go to the small air club, which is of course nearby, and you can fly the airplane there, and you'll understand whether you like it or not before investing such a huge amount of money. So there are not many people willing to pay, and some pay, some not pay. That is why we have pilot shortage in some points, in some areas, in some countries around the world. And some of airlines are growing very fast in China, in Eastern Europe. We also have a growing airline, for example, Wizz Air, and they have a special Cadet program for beginners. What is this program about? They invest money for newcomers, for the people who just want to be a pilot with no any license, with nothing. They just put the money on you and you'll sign the contract with a particular airline. For example, with the Air, or in China, you sign the contract with a government airline. So they pay for your program, but they don't pay for everything. So if you go somewhere to fly, you need to pay for your own expenses like food, and maybe you need to rent a house or apartment and to live there near to the airfield, flying for your PPL license or commercial pilot license. But anyway, it would be much more cheaper than you would invest your own money in this stuff. As usual, guys, it's not for everyone. You need to be relatively young to apply for this program. As far as I remember, I don't remember the airline, so it's usually up to, let's say, 35 years old, you need to apply for this program, because the airline expects you to work for them at least for 10 years. So you need to have 3 years for training at least, and then 10 more years for your job. And of course, they're looking for future captains. The airlines usually open these Cadet programs because they need to have their own pilots. They want to grow them up for their particular needs. And believe me guys, there are many people who are willing to apply for Cadet programs, and you'll have some kind of competition because they have particular entry requirements for everyone. They're searching for particular mindset of the pilot, and they have a lot of people to choose from. So basically my point is, if you don't have money, try to apply for some kind of Cadet program. For example, then I was studying in 2009, then I was finishing, I was graduated from the My Flight Academy. The Etihad Airlines, they had such kind of program for everyone, for every nationality. Nowadays, as I said, you need to search for some kind of low-cost airlines or rapidly growing airlines. Usually they have these Cadet programs because they are in lack of pilots. And for China, for example, I know that the government airlines, they just go to schools and ask young people whether they want to become pilots, and if they want to become, they go through the special tests. Many of them fail, but some succeed, and later they will become pilots. In my country, in Ukraine, the government also used to pay for young pilots to get them their licenses and also the type ratings. And before, it was much easier to become a pilot here. Now, as far as I know, you need to pay. So guys, my 2 big tips and my 2 recommendations for our topic today. First, understand whether you really need it, whether you want to invest your time firstly and your money to your profession, to your pilot profession. Go to Air Club and try it. First tip. The second tip is try to find a Cadet program for you, whether it's a program for a particular airline, whether it's a government program. Apply for as much as possible, and maybe you'll get lucky on your way. And the most easiest way for rich boys and girls: pay money, get your commercial pilot license, get your nice type rating, and apply for any airline you want, and I'm sure you'll get your job. Thank you very much guys for watching this video. Like it if you like, and also write the comment below, because I'll read it and I'll answer it. Have a great time! Don't forget to subscribe.